Dr. Miller here. Welcome to the second episode of Election Theory. If you haven't watched the first episode yet on the plurality paradox, I encourage you to go back and do that before watching this video. Remember last week we talked about the plurality paradox, and oftentimes what can happen in a plurality election is the candidate that wins is also the one that's the most disliked, and that leads us to this plurality paradox. There was a French mathematician named Jean-Charles de Borda that did not like the plurality system because of that, and he came up with another way of doing elections known as the Borda Count method. Now, he came up with this in the 1770s, so we're talking about a long time ago. Again, he was a French mathematician. He was also an engineer, did quite a bit of work with fluid mechanics, and also contributed a lot to the metric system. How does the Borda Count method system work? It's actually very simple. You rank the candidates in order from first place, second place, third place, and fourth place, or however many candidates there are, and you assign points based on the rank that they got. Now, one example would be, let's say you have an election with 3 candidates. First place would get 3 points, second place would get 2 points, one place would get 1 point on each individual ballot, right? So if you have 1,000 people that voted, there would be 1,000 different ballots. You'd go to each ballot, and the first place person on the ballot would get 3 points, the second place person on the ballot would get 2 points, the third place person would get 1 point. And then you total up the points, whoever has the most points wins. Now, the Borda Count system is not perfect. One of the potential problems with the Borda Count method is that it's possible to win the election without receiving any first place votes. And that leads to what we call the Borda paradox, which is that the winner of the election may actually not have received any first place votes. But it guarantees a person that is going to create the least likely opportunity for people to be mad at the result, because it's just based on total points. So when you look at the average of it all, it's likely to lead to a better result in terms of what people will appreciate or how people will feel about the election than a plurality system, which oftentimes leads to the majority of people being really, really upset. So that's the Borda Count method. It's another method of doing elections, and I'll run through a quick example of that for you guys. Let's say we have a Borda Count election where ABC gets 40% of the votes, CBA gets 30% of the votes, and BCA gets 30% of the votes. So the way that we would do this is, if you get first place, you get 3 points. So this A points here would be 40 times 3, which is 120. You do that, you see here that B gets 2 times 40, which is 80. C gets 40 times 1, which is 40. Here, C is going to get 30 times 3, which is 90. B is going to get 30 times 2, which is 60. A is going to get 30 times 1, which is 30. Same thing here. And then you add up the total points. So A has a total of 180 points. B has a total of 230 points. C has a total of 190 points. So the winner of the election, according to the Borda Count method, would be B would win the election. And because B has the most points there, and that's going to make the most people happy. Now, you may be like, well, when do we use the Borda Count method in everyday life? Well, there's a couple of examples of situations that actually do. One example that uses the Borda Count method is actually when they pick the Heisman Trophy winner. They use a Borda Count method to determine the winner based on the amount of first place, second place, third place votes that each of the potential individuals have based on the voting. So that's just one example. See you guys next time for episode 3.